So I'm going to start this discussion with the school to prison pipeline because I think starting there and having an understanding of all of those things will help everything else kind of flow together. The school to prison pipeline speaks to the relationship between race, poverty, education, and prison. And the school to prison pipeline actually has roots in the separate but unequal color-based race system that was set up by wealthy white landowners at the foundation of the country. It was a time where people of African descent, women, poor whites, were not educated. They were thought of incapable of learning and therefore were left out of the educational process. As time went on and civil rights came into action, African Americans and other previously disenfranchised populations were able to actualize education. But since they got started so far behind, 300 years later, the achievement gap was already in place. And so what has happened recently is with the advent of desegregation, a lot of professionals from the African American community was segregated went out to the suburbs. And so a lot of the professionals that used to be in the black community, specifically in urban centers, kind of went out to the suburbs, was left a huge void of income and resources in poorer communities. Now, the caveat to this is poverty is an equalizer. If you look at the prison population, it is filled more with people from poverty than from people from middle class. And in poverty, it's hard to get out. But poverty is also overrepresented by African American students. And so when we're talking about poverty, we also have to keep an eye on that racial demographic because it all factors into the school to prison pipeline. So what happens is a family grows up in a poor area. The schools are underfunded. It's hard to find quality teachers. Students and parents come in with preconceived notions about their roles and importance in education. Teachers and administrators come in with their own preconceived ideas about the students and the communities in which they're serving. And all of these ideas really combine to have one gap of trust between the students and the parents. When the children don't do well in school, when they don't feel loved at school, when they don't feel wanted at school, those children will drop out of school. Sometimes those children will drop out of school out of need or necessity. The parent may have been taken out of the home for whatever reason. And if the child is older, that child may have to take over the responsibility for running the family. So either way, schools for the communities in poverty don't always produce don't always put things in place to help these citizens gain the social, emotional, financial, and professional connections necessary to transition from poverty to programs that can give the middle class better income skills. So we go to schools underfunded. There's a lot of issues with that. We don't connect with their schools. We don't get our education. And so then those people, when they are out of school, they still grow up and they still are citizens and they still have to survive. And so what these people do, if you're poor, which means not having resources and not having access to resources. So not only, if my car breaks down, not only can I not call somebody else with a car, I also don't have the money to get it fixed. I don't have the type of insurance that's gonna give me a loaner. I don't have the kind of job that I can call off for sick days. So it throws everything into crisis. But so what this does for people in poverty is it creates a necessity for people in poverty to commit what I call crimes of provision, theft, drug sales, robbing, stealing. These are all crimes of provision that had people had other means to make, they may not even enter into it. And so after that, what you have is the legal system, which has cast zero tolerance laws. And what that means is for crimes of provision, I am penalized as if it was a serious crime. And that just takes me out of the community. And so the school's role in this whole process is to help citizens from poverty learn the social, emotional, financial, professional type of skills and help them deal with things in a way so that when they leave the 12 years of public education, they have the skills they need to enter into the various training programs or careers that can make them successful as middle-class citizens. So that's really what's meant by the school to prison pipeline. It's very, very complicated, very involved.